Hey y'all, welcome to What Do You Have to Say? I am Uriah, and today we're doing a global performance review, if you will, on how we're prepping for the future. The rough title for today, or what we're really talking about, is what we're teaching the future generation. So we're going to be looking at a major shift in how the youth communicates or how they handle public spaces, social social settings, and how they navigate education. From the silence at the cash register, which I know that you all have encountered, to the chaos at school graduations. It feels like the baseline rules of society are disappearing, and we're gonna break it down. What do you have to say? There's no time to waste. What do you have to say? Together we lift our voices and let them ring, 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 ring.
Hello, hey everyone. Good to be back in this space, ready to chop it up with this great title that we have, our topic that we have. What are we teaching the next generation? Yeah,
What
sounds
are we
interesting.
teaching the next generation?
What are we teaching? Not with just our words, but with our behaviors. What are we teaching? Because it's a lot going on out in them streets, as the people say. It's a lot going on, but we want to just chop it up and see what we know that this generation is learning. It's just what are we teaching them and how are we teaching them? We know they're learning something.
You said we know they're learning. I almost said, what do you mean? What are they learning? But
Yes, yeah, they're learning something. Yeah.
we talked about what was the quote, something that you had mentioned about
Oh, that yes, everybody teaches you something. Either they
Yeah.
teach you what to do or they teach you not to do. And it
Right.
could be implicitly or explicitly, and that's what is happening.
So explicitly is like
Mhm.
it's right there. It's
It's
like I'm showing it to you and I'm telling you.
right.
Implicitly is like
It's
you've sort of learned it by osmosis, or you've learned it from
mhm.
being around someone,
Oh,
or
yes.
it's sort of implied
Yes.
that you do something.
Mhm.
But
Right.
we're learning.
We're learning. We're learning.
And
And
some people is
I mean,
teaching, and
some
some
people
people we don't want you to be the teacher.
that is so true. That is true. I mean, and because they will just like it says a child is an empty slate, and we are able to write on whatever that it is. We can imprint them, and some of those imprints that's going on, help us.
Ooh, please help us,
So
right? Oh
help
my gosh.
us. Yes,
Well,
yes.
today we're
Mm,
gonna hit some. When I say hit, we probably will move through it fairly quick, but maybe not. There's some important pieces,
okay.
but I think we've got
Yes.
4 or 5 little things that we want to sort of illuminate, uh, that we feel are going on
Right.
in the world, and let's just look at it.
Right. And because I'll say it again, just what are they seeing from us? What are they
Mhm.
hearing from us? What are we normalizing for them? And
Mm.
we can normalize things through our silence, but we just not saying anything about it. They're still learning. We can normalize distraction. I mean, everybody is on, where's my device? We're connected so much, we're just
Yeah.
distracted, or either we're just going for our own things and we're missing out, or disengagement, just like it's not worth it. So I'm not going to get involved in it. But there's they're learning, and hopefully the things that we're seeing, I'm going to stay hopeful. I don't know about you. I'm going to stay hopeful um with the things in society that we're seeing right now, but because they are our future, and at least I don't say that lightly, but they are.
Well, we have to have hope.
Hope. I do. I have to have
Well, we
hope.
have to, well, first off, you don't have to have
Yes.
anything. So it
That's
um
you're right.
it
You're
is
right.
true. I mean,
Yes.
I hold hope because I'm hoping for something, although change takes a long time, but I hope that it will change. And there are some people who don't hold out hope, and that's unfortunate in my point of view, but they get to have that point of view also. So, yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. Okay. What are we gonna hit first about civics?
Well, what about civics? I mean, first off,
Civics.
the,
Go ahead.
I don't even know that is civics taught as a class in school anymore. Do you know? You're an
Um,
educator.
it is like civics comes to my mind about social studies. For some reason, they are coupled. I know that we have social studies as in our curriculum,
Yeah.
not necessarily civics.
Oh,
And but civics, I equate both of them. They are closely aligned because civics is it's more than politics. It is about participating in the life around you. At least that's my understanding of what civics
oh,
is.
did you have civics in high school, or do
I
you?
did not.
You
I did
didn't.
not. I didn't. I had social studies.
There was, and I was in high school. There was social studies, and then there was a semester where there was
Mm,
civics. But
okay.
I'm telling you that I didn't really understand that civic piece of it until
Mhm,
I went to college,
mhm,
left college, and then went back to college. And I had a
mhm.
teacher who was passionate around civics, and he helped me understand the connection and why we should be connected to that. So I
Okay,
wonder
well,
if that ball is being dropped.
I think so. I mean, I think it would be helpful if you would share what you're understanding from your professor or your teacher that what civics was about, because I I know we get pigeonholed or we think it's all about politics, but like I say, I mean, it is about being involved in your community as well.
It is. Um,
And that's my
I think he asked us to. It was a lot about government and understanding the
Mhm.
the the workings of government and how things are connected in that way. So it was a big piece. But the other piece that he had us doing was asking. We were required every week to join a forum and
Mm,
present a
okay,
question about things that we saw going on out in the world and what our thoughts were about. And we all
mhm,
had to write
okay,
and respond meaningful about the things that we
mhm.
saw and what our thoughts were about. So it is about connecting to the things that are going around us
Ri right,
and adding
right.
to it. And then I would imagine change at some point in time, or just verbal. Uh,
Absolutely. I believe that then you were talking about action, and your contribution with the writing on the forums, and
mhm.
it is when I think of civics, I think of action and people
Mhm.
taking action and being visible and in more than just voting. I
Yeah.
know that that takes top tier
Yeah.
is voting, and it should because um, it it things rise and fall on voting. If you're not voting, there's a quote that says, "If you don't participate in decisions, somebody else will make them for you."
True.
And that's why I'm an advocate for voting and what is going on, the climate, what's going on with the redrawing of maps and those things that are happening right now to diminish some voices. Um, and no, your vote is not gone, but your voice may be diminished or diluted, I guess is a better word, in some areas. But the cost of even that vote was really high, and we're going to highlight a person that I think that needs to be really talked about, and his name was Vernon um, Damer, and he was from a businessman from Mississippi, and he was a black man of influence, had
Mhm.
a lot going on, and he he was civically involved and in his community and trying to register people to vote, and he lost his life because of it. And
Mm. What was the time period?
it was 1960. He
Oh,
passed in 1966.
so it was
And
right in
see,
all of the heat.
um, the Voters' Right Act, the Civil Rights, there's the Civil Rights Act in 64, and then the Voting Rights Act in 65. And he was registering people, he was paying their poll tax,
Mm.
and the Triple K did not
Ooh,
want it was just
the
horrific. I
KKK,
mean,
y'all, if you're not
it's okay.
catching
Oh,
the
it
triple
that's
K, we're
oh,
not minimizing. It's the Ku
okay.
Klux Klan.
As Klan,
Mhm.
yes, and they, I mean, they had history together for a while, because he was a man of influence. I mean, he
Okay.
owned acres, he employed people, and they were upset. They
With
were
him.
just with him about
Is
it.
this clip, what does this clip show?
The clips, gives a little background story on, Vernon, Damer.
Had been a successful businessman and NAACP leader who was active in the voting rights movement. This was not the first time the Damer family were targets of local whites' hostility and terrorism.
Burns, yes.
14 Klansmen were later arrested
14,
and charged with
but
murder,
none of
arson,
them.
and conspiracy.
But they were all let go. It wasn't until 1998 the head of the Ku Klux Klan, Sam Bowers, was found responsible for
For all of
all of
that.
that, for all of it.
Because they didn't like what he was doing and that he had the influence to do.
He had the influence. He had the influence. And, because in Mississippi, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, they set these parameters and he exceeded those parameters um, for him, for himself, and for the people in his community around him. But that's why being participating in voting and in civically engaged,
Yeah.
the cost was high. The cost
Yeah.
was high. But
Yeah.
um, I a few weeks ago, I was able to go to All Roads Lead to the South rally and just really highlighted some information about voter rights and
Mhm.
how they were redrawing districts and here and
Yeah.
just the other day, well, maybe yesterday, they eliminated Shamari Figures district in down south in Mobile, and they were successful with that. But I just tell you, we're going to keep trying. But I attended this rally, and it was families there, and it was parents there teaching their children. And our question is, our topic is, what are we teaching the next generation? And it was really, really uh there's a word that escapes me right now, but it gave me joy to see the
Mm.
families there teaching them. This is what it's about. This is what it's going to take because it's needed. And I got a little bit of footage from that, but it was just really impactful for
Mm.
me to see all of it happening.
Saturday, I stood in a place filled with people who still believe change is possible.
That's Shamari Figures.
Leaders,
Okay.
organizers,
Okay.
everyday
And Justin
people.
Peters, yes.
All roads led to the South.
Cory
And
Booker.
one message kept rising above the noise.
If
If
it
our
didn't,
vote didn't matter, they wouldn't work
They
this
won't.
hard to control it. They
True.
wouldn't redraw maps. They wouldn't fight over districts. They wouldn't make access harder. Your voice
It does.
carries weight. Your presence
That
carries
was powerful.
power. Tuesday is voting day
It was.
in Alabama. This is not the moment to sit back and assume somebody else will handle it.
Yes.
Know the assignment.
Yes.
Show up.
Yes.
Follow through. Because silence never changed history. People did.
And that's engagement. And when we are civically engaged, things change. And yes, what are your thoughts? Yeah.
Well, I would say this because yes, throughout history in so many different cultures and experiences, um, we see the movements where you see people out. And I want those people because there may be some people, you don't have to be on the street.
Oh
There are a lot of
no.
people, and I just
Oh,
say, I'm one of those people. I help behind. And your
okay.
help behind can be money, it can be
Mhm.
supporting in a lot of different ways the people that need to go. But we don't want to just sit. You can
Oh no.
if you want to, and some people they can't do anything but to sit. And if your intention is goodwill in nature and you're sending out wonderful energy
Mm,
around that, that's all that
mhm,
you can
mhm.
do. That's what you do. But we
Right.
would like you to do something.
Right, right. I mean, because it's more than just voting for a president every
Right.
4 years. It is voting for the members on your school board because they decide curriculum. They decide what is being taught.
Absolutely.
They decide if your roads get built, fixed in your neighborhood. It is more
They
what
decide
I
whether or not they're going to put uh, uh,
oh my
um,
gosh.
the big factory. What are the ones that are? Oh,
They're
Jiminy,
talking now the data centers
the
that they
data
want. The
centers
centers. Yeah,
in
that's
your
it.
neighborhood.
In your neighborhood. So it is more than just voting politically. It is what happens. It's schooling, it's parks,
It's a
it's
livelihood.
it and getting involved. And that's what my goal is to teach the next generation that.
Well, this everything that we're talking about now is about the next generation, and we're going to be talking about those things. We started with sort of the civic participation and how
Yes.
we communicate and maybe how we help. But we're also going to talk about
Oh,
the youth just a little bit because we
oh,
hope if we're communicating well, we can teach the youth that it is important because
mhm.
as you'll find out, some of the youth they don't communicate well and they have a hard time with social situations. So if they can't do it just with you and I, when we're out and about, when we're going to a retail store or McDonald's or something like that, they're probably not going to be able to stand up in those ways that are the most meaningful. Thoughts, Phil?
Well, immediately top of mind comes in, can they speak up for themselves? If they're not,
Yeah.
do they have the skills to speak up for themselves? Because, I mean, like you said initially, we have all been in those spaces where you walk up to the counter, they say absolutely nothing. If you do not engage them, hi, how are you? How's your day? Those just pleasantries that
Pleasantries.
we were taught you know, to say they're missing, and I don't know if that has to do with how much they are with their devices and how technology has the
Well,
socialization.
it's what they're being taught in the corporate level. You're talking about people, you're not just talking about mom and pop stores, you're talking about
But
Starbucks, McDonald's, you're talking about any
mm-hmm,
retail institution that you go to that's
mm-hmm.
not probably super high end, that they
Right.
simply just don't know how to initiate or hold basic polite face to face, not they might be able to do a little bit better if I was on my device conversation because we're treating our
Mm.
lives, especially the youth, like it's a touchscreen. If my face was a tablet, they would
Ooh,
know exactly what to do, right? Swipe, swipe, ba, ba,
ooh,
ba, right?
ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Right?
What?
And and
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's they call it the mute exchange. Isn't it sad, Phil, that we have to come up with a phrase to sort of define what this thing is when I go up and hey, how are you doing today? I have to now prompt everything.
I have to prompt everything. Um, we're going to talk about education. So yes, yeah, you have to prompt
You have to prompt
every
everything.
everything. But you know what? I before you, I went to Subway last night, got a
Okay.
sandwich, and so the young man there, it was he was fully engaged. He had to be
With
like
you.
20,
Okay.
20 with me, like
Yes.
20 around in there before 25. And it shocked me so. He was like, and so how's your day been?
No way.
And this such and such. And I said, I gave him a tip. And he lit up. He was like, that is so kind of you. And I said, your conversation was so kind too. And I would just, since we're talking about the mute thing, he was not mute.
He was not
And
mute.
I was like, he's been in some places.
Yeah.
He's been exposed to it. And so I don't, wow. The mute, what did you say? The mute?
The mute exchange. The mute exchange.
Exchange. That is so true. So the
It,
next time that any of you guys are out and you'll hear that phrase mute exchange, leave it in the comments. Let
leave
us
it
know
in the
that,
comments.
that you
You know,
experience. Go ahead.
so we're talking about the mute exchange, and we might have to stop really quick because I don't know if this video is going to play, but we'll just reboot back up.
Okay.
But anyhow,
Okay.
we're talking about this mute exchange and civic duty and all this stuff, right? There's this phenomenon that's also happening, which applies to how are we teaching the new generation, or what we're teaching, is that they're learning that there are no boundaries. So maybe they can't even speak to you, but then there are no boundaries. And this also has played, and I'll show you, I'm gonna show you a couple clips of these people now have their job. Now everybody's a content creator. And just showing you how far with these no boundaries that content creators have. So this one little clip, this is from Sherry's, and she's showing how people have no boundaries in very public spaces.
So a passenger was on a plane and he shared a
Oh, come
video
on.
of somebody who got a little
This is
too
on a plane,
comfortable.
Philip.
Okay, look at this. They had their feet on the plane wall. And this doesn't even look like his first class.
Oh, my
this is
Lord.
Gen Pop right here. And I want to see,
Nobody
everybody
wants
want
to
to see
see
all of that on a plane. At least put some socks on. And I get it that he probably thinks that that is his wall.
Boundaries.
But this is where we are, our brother's keeper comes into play. Sir, everybody don't want to see that. Get your feet off the wall. Just because it's good for you does not mean it's good for everybody else. You know it's people 6 inches away
on.
trying to enjoy their cashews and corn nuts.
What's good for me, this is the thought. What's good for me must be good for everybody else. That is twisted, Phil.
It is.
That's
It
out of
is.
bounds.
And
I think that's out of bounds.
it's out of bounds. It's out of bounds because what word comes to mind? Decorum, etiquette, the way things should be done. And out of bounds. Who puts their feet on the air? Who does that?
Who's
And
that
that's what he was-
comfortable?
who thinks that is okay, but it will be a problem for you to call them out on it because it would be escalated really
It's
fast.
going to be escalated.
Because they are going to start on 10
Yep.
because
Yep.
somehow you have disrespected me because you're calling me out on my on my BS. You're calling me out on that. Who yeah, and that's why she says you be your brother's keeper. Because I would be like,
You
y'all-
should be, but this goes back to our
Mm.
topic. What are we
What are we
teaching them?
teaching?
What are we learning?
Right.
Because this
Right.
isn't just necessarily coming from what they learn at their home. We're allowing this because there will be a lot of people. I mean, somebody took that video. It didn't say that they made them
And
take their feet
They
down.
didn't say nothing. They did. They did it for views, like, or I don't know what they did it for, but they didn't say anything. You didn't hear them calling them out, like, "Hey, bruh."
No,
Or,
because
hey,
the
whoever
person who took that thing and put it on Instagram, they did that for views.
for views. Okay, right,
Do you know what I'm saying?
right,
Okay.
right.
So,
Let's see. Oh,
okay, so
God.
now we're sort of like this little thing, but with boundaries. This is good for me. So I'm sure we've all experienced it because we've all been on social media. And have you seen those content creators that go into Target and Walmart and Home Depot and push things over and run when make people think that,
Oh, I have not. I have not.
oh my
I
gosh,
haven't seen
some
that.
Philip,
No.
people are doing the craziest things for social media, for views. This is the new way where people think that they're going to make it big by doing pranks, right? So this clip I'm going to show you is, I think it's rather somber because this guy got shot. This content creator, his name is Tanner Cook. He was shoving the phone. This is his prank, Phil. Shoving the phone into the face of a delivery driver at a mall food court. And the guy just wanted to get the food, do his delivery and go. Well, the delivery driver has a gun because he's delivering. And what happened?
What happened?
What happened?
It's shocking, never before seen
Oh, we're
video
not
that
showing
led
the
to the
shooting.
shooting of a notorious YouTube prankster. You can see the prankster. He's the 6'5" dude in the white baseball cap. His target is a guy named Alan
for
Coley,
pranks.
and he's holding a bag of food he just picked up at the food court at the Dulles Town Center in Virginia. At one point, the 31-year-old Coley shoves the phone out of his face. But the prankster, 21-year-old Tanner Cook, is unrelenting.
Okay, Tanner. That is
Tanner.
Okay, Tanner. Son, he walked up on the right person to do that.
He walked up on the right one.
The right person, right.
That guy, hardworking. So what is somebody
Right.
teaching? He's delivering. He's trying to make a living. And this
Right.
other guy
And what
is
are you,
like,
clown?
for his
For
likes.
For his likes.
For his
And-
likes.
And hopefully, I hope that he is safe, that he didn't lose his life. But
He didn't.
it
He did
is,
not.
he didn't.
He didn't.
And see, I knew that it was a lot of people out there doing that because of the notary of Chud the Builder is going through his thing right now and doing that. I mean,
He can't pay his bill. He can't pay his bill. He can't pay that bond. He can't pay that bond.
So he's still behind
He's still in
bars,
jail right now,
which
as far
he
as I
should
know.
be. He should be.
But
yeah.
really quick, this
Yeah, man.
guy Tanner, or the guy, his father defended him. So this is what Dad is teaching him. Dad said it was free expression, and Tanner, who was laid up in the hospital bed, said that getting shot wouldn't stop him from making prank videos again because it was his passion.
What are we teaching our next generation?
What are we teaching? So now views become more valuable than human dignity or your own personal safety.
Yeah. Well, because some content creators are making millions and millions of dollars for nothing.
Nothing.
For that of substance. For
nothing.
Nothing. And so what are we, and yeah.
Wow. So we're moving from content creators, and I bring us into teaching. You are an educator. So what do you think we're teaching? And then let's talk about a couple of these clips. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Okay. I mean, education, teaching it's not just done in classrooms. It's in homes, it's in churches, it's in our communities. What do I believe that we are teaching? I don't know, but this is what teaching should be. It should be teaching them how to communicate, how to critically think, how to assess, how to problem solve, how to, some emotional tools, how to regulate their emotions, how create opportunities for themselves, be imaginative, just the sky's the limit. That's what education should be.
Can we just lift up critical thinking? Can we lift critical thinking up to the top, to the top of the pile?
Because there
critical
is,
thinking.
That's what education should be, but it is not, and it is more than just grades and degrees. will say that it's more than just grades and degrees. Well, I don't know, and let's circle back to that prompting. That mute exchange. You said you
Yes.
have to prompt them. We as educators, we're prompting all the time to try and pull it out, but pull out responses. But you know what, Uriah? They're not in there. They're not in the responses aren't just automatic, for them to that comes out of them. We have
They don't
to
know how to
prompt them.
access it.
No.
Where's it
Oh,
even? Where is it saved?
It's not.
It's not
I
saved.
mean, it's not. I mean, even in the teaching of reading, we have, different parts of our brain. We access different parts of our brain
Right.
for orthological development and all of those where our word banks are
Mhm.
trying to access. And students, there are barriers to that access.
Yeah.
So, but what we're seeing now in education, I just could not imagine the decorum and the etiquette and those rules that are set for us. But man, we had a community teaching us. Or we had a whole it says it takes a village. We had a village. On your street, 10, 11 toward north, you had a village. Everybody was helping
Well,
you.
let me tell you, you couldn't do anything in the smaller town that I grew up with and it not get back to my mother,
And
my grandmother, grandfather, my aunt,
what?
the neighbor across the street. Because if we did something, they knew about it.
But that community, that
Yeah.
teaching community
Yep.
is not there.
It's
It
not
is
there.
not there. And yet that church, we had that church still.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah,
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. So let's
we
do this.
had that. Yes, man.
We're talking about teachers. Let's look at the clip about teachers and then let's look at about graduation. I was floored. Okay, so there's another Sherry clip. And Philip, I thought this would be a prank. That the teacher was pranking, but she's not pranking. The teacher has given homework to a kindergarten. Y'all, let's look at this real quick, please.
So, y'all, teachers, they give homework to help teach the kids a lesson. But one teacher assigned homework to herself as a lesson. So one mom in Texas shared a video of her daughter's homework. Now, her daughter is in kindergarten, but the assignment was really advanced. Take a look.
What grade you in?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten? This your homework?
Why do people get married? What's the best advice?
Okay, if you could not read that, it said, what is the best marriage advice you can give your teacher? Is the teacher trying to get free therapy from her kindergarten students?
This is a joke, Philip. This is crazy.
It has
I'm over here going, what is that little one going to tell you? No, but seriously, little one, what can you tell me?
Oh,
Nothing.
man. Oh, man.
Have you heard of anything as absurd as that?
I have not. That's age. It should be age appropriate. Let's see, my teacher's hat just came on. It should be age appropriate. It should be followed with curriculum aligned. All of that. What is that? How? Okay.
Do you believe, hold on,
See,
as an educator, and I know that you have experienced a lot, do you think something, maybe not as crazy as this, but have you seen something out of bounds or too far left or right?
I know that I have. It is not top of mind, so I cannot think
Okay.
of it. But I'm sure that I have. But not to that extreme. To a
Have you ever given
kindergartner.
any homework like that?
No, sir. No, sir. No, I have not.
You haven't asked
Okay.
your third graders for some financial advice
No, I
of
have
what
not.
stocks you should invest in?
Invested? No, no. And you know what? I am an advocate of homework, but I don't give homework like that. So
No.
I do give it out just to reinforce a skill. That's it. But it's a lot going on in these school streets. It's just
It's a lot going on in these school streets. And it seems like today it is a lot going on, and it takes a lot to even get to graduation. Would you agree?
Now, yes, it does. It takes a lot to get to graduation, but what I have seen from in 2026, from the clips from graduations where it's just devolved into chaos, into fighting, it's just turned into
At graduation?
they're just at graduation. I mean, wow. And it makes me think of my graduation, the pomp and circumstance. The
Yeah.
orchestra was just playing just
There was
really
no
nice
fighting.
and sweet. It was no fighting. It was nothing. It was some little celebrations, when they called your name, but it wasn't anything like it's going on today. What are we
Okay.
teaching them? And
So
there are adults co-signing on this
this
behavior.
behavior.
And
So should we look at this
man,
clip? It's
yeah,
a quick
uh,
clip, but it's an
yeah.
example of what you're talking about. And there's two sides. Some of people say it's fun, but
And
before we watch it, or maybe
okay.
I think you have degrees, I've got degrees. A lot of people that are watching this have degrees. And I personally think there's something about having more respect and pomp and circumstances
Yeah.
around that procedure of graduation. Because once you get past high school,
Mhm.
you have to put in more work to get to that
You
space. And there should be more respect, I think.
What's best? Yes, I got you.
Okay.
And it's yeah.
So let's look at this.
Yo, when did school
It's crazy.
become the new party spot? Look, I'm ready to go to school right now. Hey. Well, look, I want a math class. I want all that. I want my degree.
I could tell that they were having a good time and it was joyous, but I don't know if in that spot that's what we
That
should
was
be
a
doing.
good time. That's at a
Shouldn't you have your
graduation.
graduation party afterwards?
It should be, because this is a ceremony. This is to confer your degree to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is to congratulate everyone, not just, one person, but that is in the entire class. And
Yeah.
so you steal that moment from, parents. And this dude, he was just like, hey, where's my math class? No. And if that is an indicative of how things are going to go, I'm hoping that they will wrangle all of this in. I
Well, I
really
don't know
do.
how we
I
can. How can
I
we?
don't
It's
I
already
don't
out of the
know.
bag.
It is already out of the bag, man. What are we teaching our next
What do
generation?
we teach our next
The
generation?
price. I mean, even the price of education
Yeah.
was as high as voting. I mean, and that integration and segregation thing is a whole nother topic that we could really get into. But I mean, it cost to be educated. It cost. And um, I just don't take education lightly, because
No.
it is an avenue to a better, um, even if you are going to be a plumber, you still have to have education. If you're going to be a computer programmer, it's education.
It doesn't mean that
And
things will be better
the-
for you, but
you-
having
right.
information
Oh,
ultimately, because
it's
then you
information.
can make choices,
Oh,
et cetera, et cetera.
exactly.
So I don't want
Exactly.
people to think that just because you get
Yes.
this thing, this
Big.
diploma, that things are
Right,
better
right.
for you,
But
because
it's information.
it's the
It's
information.
information. I mean, and that cost, I mean, we can go all the way back and say, they did not want certain people to read, because reading
Absolutely.
was information.
Information.
And that's it.
Well,
Wow.
so as we're sort of wrapping up here, but
Yeah,
we've
man.
been talking about the next generation a lot. We've been talking about what are we teaching them, and so we just they can wild out at graduation. They can do prank videos Everybody pull out a phone, you can do a prank video. But that real time, unstructured, unscripted conversation like we're doing can be very, very difficult. Just in real life. They can do it on Zoom, or maybe they can do it over YouTube or Instagram live and all that stuff. But just take all that away. We're outside having a conversation. Can't do it. They don't want to talk. And there's this phenomenon that more recently, they're anxious around screens and especially phone. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
You haven't heard of them being afraid of talking to people on the phone? They're so used to being in the digital age on the tablet and talking and communicating this way, when it's either live or even speaking to a live voice over the phone, they don't want to do it. It's really hard. It's a thing. What have you
I would
noticed?
say that. Okay, and then, you know what? Now that you mention it, some people that are, younger than I am, and I'm not saying like 20 younger. I mean 30 and 35 younger. They would prefer to text instead of talking on. They will not pick up. They will prefer to talk, or I mean, but they FaceTime, or they will do that. But as far as talking on the telephone,
No.
sight unseen, it is, and that is true. More study. I need to.
Well, they call it screen anxiety. And what it means is that there is this fear. Some people it's paralyzing, to be honest, to have any communication that's not pre-recorded, not text-based like you were just talking about, or being able to edit it like before you send the email or text, right? And if you get an unscheduled phone call or any live interactions are the number one fear of cause of panic for a lot of folks now under the age of 25. Isn't it crazy? And that is because most people under 25, a lot of their communication is text.
Is
It
on
is
a device.
FaceTime. And think about that. That's not live. I mean, obviously it's not live. So they're less apt to be able to read body language and understand like what we would when we're meeting face to face. Because although you can determine body language, there's another unspoken component that is there when you're talking to someone live or in person with them.
Right. And context, it comes to my mind. Context. Yeah.
Context.
Wow.
So
where are we going with this, though?
right here, this little clip. Hopefully it's a funny clip as we're ending. But
all right.
You said you handled it. Why don't you just give him your credit card?
Well, you said it was reserved. I didn't know I had to double check.
So you never even called this place?
I have social anxiety, so I just sent emails.
You get anxiety from dialing a phone?
I can do anything that doesn't require a phone call.
Where's all the money we Venmo'd you for this place?
I have it with me on my phone. I'm sorry. What else do you want?
I don't know. Aren't you the wedding planner?
She was serious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a real thing.
It's a real thing. They have these responsible jobs, but they don't communicate. They don't want to answer phone calls. And if they leave their phone, which they did, they can't do anything because it's all on the phone. This is, Philip, I know that you're not teaching folks these things. I'm not teaching folks these things, but we're learning it somehow.
We're learning it. Right. And I mean, we can go back, and I'll be transparent about phone numbers, because it's the small thing about phone numbers. There are some phone numbers, like I remember your mom's phone number because we had to dial it. I remember my home phone number.
Yes.
I remember my, from growing up. I still remember 806-797-3589 because we learned that. But if you ask me I have to look up phone numbers because they are where? In my phone.
If you're in your phone. Now,
And
I'm
so
glad you said that because I agree with you. As soon as you could save the phone number to Google, and then whenever I get a new phone, it's always there.
it's
I
always there.
could not remember my sister's phone number because it was always in the phone. I never had to look at it to dial, and I didn't like that.
I don't like it either. Do you know? And think about, I have to look at my sister's phone number. If I have to write it down, I have to look at it just to make sure that I know, kind of know what it is,
Yeah.
but just to make sure, because I don't trust myself.
But that is taking it away from your brain. Your brain doesn't have to do it. The only
Right.
phone number outside of my own that I remember, and I almost, if you told me what is the number to your therapy practice, I'm gonna have to think for a second, right? Because I don't call it. I remember my home mother's phone number, and I remember Granny and Papa's.
Granny and Papa's, yes.
That's it.
I I don't remember. I don't even remember what your phone number is, man.
Philip, if
That's I
someone told me
can
they
tell.
give me a
to make-
billion, I wouldn't get that billion to
I
tell you
wouldn't
what
get
your
it.
phone number is because it's
Well,
in my
I don't
phone.
even know. I don't even know what the. I mean, and while we're thinking, so I mean, yeah. Wow, that's a whole.
So what are we learning? We've
What are
learned
we
something
learning?
too.
We learn it. We learn it. Yes, I mean, we're learning.
I'm glad
This is.
that
This is yes.
I don't think I would trade it to be a teenager today. I'm glad that I had the experiences that I had yesterday because I'm not saying it's better, not saying that.
Nah,
But I'm glad that I had to remember numbers. I had to do this. I had to look
I
through
had to,
books.
and
I had to
look
go
at
to the
people in the eye.
library and use the
What?
Dewey Decimal System
Yes,
to find
yes,
my
yes,
books.
yes, yes, yes. I mean, and I had to look at people in the eye and
Yes.
communicate with them.
Yep.
I mean, and even at my job at McDonald's, my job at another restaurant, my jobs here, there, we communicated. We looked at people in the eye,
Yeah.
and I, you know, I salute my parents for that too. For that, and all of the people in my community that helped do that. It was those Easter speeches. It was that
Oh, in church, you had to
participation.
do
It
an
was
Easter speech.
it was communicating with everyone else. Yes,
Get
yes,
get
ma'am.
this.
Yes, sir.
You
Yeah.
learned this too. Hi, how are you doing today? Nice, thank you very much. Kids can't do that. Kids can't do that.
I'm surprised when that happens.
How are you doing,
know,
Mr. Perry? Nice
I-
to see you.
Man, okay, I know we got to go, man,
Yeah.
but this is my pet peeve. I'm standing at my door saying good morning to my students when they come in, and they will walk right by me and not say good morning or hi, hey, how you doing? They don't say nothing. And I stop the line, everybody come back out of my classroom. If somebody says, I mean, I do it, and this is just not an anomaly to my class. It's the teacher across the hall.
They
She
don't
was
know how to
like,
greet.
she was like, y'all come out because we not even starting the day like this. This is how we set the tone, the culture of the day. And it was like, but we keep trying. We keep trying to teach them. We keep trying
Oh my gosh.
because it matters.
They
But
don't even know what a salutation is. They better
right,
get Charlotte's Web.
right. Got you.
Oh my
Got you.
gosh.
But this has been really great. And
It's interesting to
um,
see how
thanks.
just this topic of what we're teaching. And I mean, we could pick either a lot of the things that we talk and pull it out and go into much deeper, but they're all
Mhm.
connected because this
They
is
are.
we're missing something and we're wanting people to have a better understanding of civic responsibility, what it means, why it's
Mhm.
important,
Right.
and all these
Right.
things, how to say hi, welcome to McDonald's. Now, also, that's a corporate fail.
Right.
That's a corporate
Right.
fail.
Right. Well,
So, yeah.
management probably didn't see. It says disengaged. It's not worth it. I mean, but it says we started with what are we normalizing? And, are we normalizing that silence? Are we normalizing that distraction? Are we normalizing it? But anyway,
Well, McDonald's needs workers, and if they really get strict with how those people will leave. I don't need the job. So you get,
I don't know, because there's another place that I can go and not say anything and just take your money and give you the food.
And get paid.
And get paid. Get paid kibbles and bits for it. Not
Kibbles.
Not worth. Kibbles.
Y'all, we're having fun here, but
right. Seriously, what are we teaching our next generation? Because they are the future, and we can talk about a lot of what is it called? Causality, cause and effect. We could talk about how COVID kind of put everyone in a different place as well with the socialization. And we're seeing that in our elementary school students now, the not socialization, but anyway, wow. Thank you. Great conversation today. If this conversation caused you to reminded you of something, please leave it in the comments. Please share this podcast. If you want to keep the conversation going, hey, check back with us. We are
in the comment.
Really, really excited about you joining us, and so subscribe and leave us a comment. We appreciate your insights and your feedback from you, our listeners. Every like and comment makes a huge difference to help this community grow, because
what do you have to say?
What do you have to say? And until we meet again, may you discover the inspiration that empowers you to allow your voice to be heard.
Don't wait for someone else to give you the sign. It's your voice, and now is the time. Step up to the mic, take a deep breath.